No, 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 no. Why, why are you making jokes? It's had the most terrible dream. I was watching Justice League and Ben Affleck was so orange. The flash was on Wonder Woman's boobs. Ben Affleck was making stupid jokes. Henry Cavill's mustache. His mustache. Wait, that is real.
Hi guys, and welcome back to Movies That Matter with the Viking. And I did something that I probably should not have done, and I don't recommend that you do either. I watched Justice League 2017 for the first time in 2.5 years. I said I'd go back and I'd rewatch the film that I hate so much because of all the shit that went on with it. Of course, originally supposed to be directed by Zack Snyder and written by Chris Terrio, and then later redirected by Josh Whedon and rewritten by Jeff Johns. Going into 2017 to Justice League, I thought that maybe Zack wouldn't have been able to finish all of his film over the circumstances that happened in his life, and maybe that he just didn't have the time, just couldn't get everything done. So Josh Whedon came in against time and had to do reshoot scenes and stuff like that, and do new additional scenes. But then, as we know now today, we know that's not the case. Zack was pushed out or left over the shit that was going on in Warner Bros. At the time. So Josh Whedon came in and Jeff Johns and they rewrote everything and got rid of his film. And we know from Fabian Wagner, the cinematographer of Justice League, that they only used 10% of Zack Snyder's scenes. So I sat down and I watched Josh Whedon's Justice League, and you know what? It's really not that bad of a film. I thought it was worse. I remember it being worse, but I really kind of enjoyed. No, I'm sorry, I can't lie to you. This is a piece of fucking shit. How did I feel when I was watching this film? So it was kind of like, so say if somebody came into my house, okay, and I couldn't move, and they got 2 nails, and they had a hammer, and they jammed the nail right in here as hard as they could. Then they didn't stop after that. They went for the other eye, and they got a nail, and they jammed it in as hard as they could. That's what it felt like watching this film. I know I could have turned it off at any time. I know I could have stopped it. But I said I'd watch it, and I'm sorry I did. Now, I did say I want to give a civil review, but I just want to start off by this. I want to say that Jeff Johns, Josh Whedon, fuck you. No, really, just fuck yourself. What the fuck? I'm not a person that goes in hating movies. I'll try and find something good in every movie I kind of watch. Even if they're just comic book movies, so I go in and I try and find something. Even the old Fantastic Four films, there's something there to be had and to enjoy, even though they're terrible films with terrible scripts. But this film, it just angers the fuck out of me so much, because I know of all the shit that went on behind the scenes, of all the stuff that happened with Ben Affleck and his Batman film, the stuff with Jeff Johns, Josh Whedon coming in. It just really annoys me. I'd say it annoyed the actors at the time when they had the film finished. In November of 2016, the film was finished and shot and completed, and then they have to go back in nearly summertime of 2017 and reshoot the whole entire movie. No wonder Ben Affleck left. You know what I mean? It's just ridiculous. But let's get into the film. Overall, the film is 1 hour and 50 minutes, a very short film, well under 2 hours. There is some enjoyment factors in it. There is some enjoyable scenes, but there's some terrible scenes. The bad outweighs the good in this film so much. We open up with Everyone Knows the song, and then a montage. I actually like that scene. Some of the scenes are Zack, some of the scenes are Whedon, like the criminal kicking over the basket in front of the shop. You can tell very quickly what scenes are Josh Whedon and what scenes are Zack Snyder, because the backdrop in the scenes that Josh Whedon went back and reshot is terrible. So the green screen in the back, so just imagine this is a green screen in the back of me. Every time it's a Josh Whedon scene, it looks terrible. It looks fake. I know in all films it is fake, but there's films that make it look absolutely real. Like look at The Jungle Book, for instance. That film looks beautiful. It looks real. We know it's not. It was shot on a stage, But this film, every single backdrop is terrible, and it's Josh Whedon. It really is. The colours outplaced. Everything is it's just poor. Like we see that it opens up, of course, before that Everyone Knows, with the mustache scene of Henry Cavill, and that is it just ruins the tone of the film straight away. Why did they go and look at this film and say, yeah, we'll start with that scene. The scene where his mustache is fucked up and the camera's like that. Yeah, we'll start with that. That'll be good. Why? Yes, we get the Superman scene, we get the montage, and then we go to Ben Affleck's Batman on top of a building in Gotham City taking down a criminal. The action in this scene isn't too bad, action-wise, when he fights the criminal and he does that kind of backflip and goes and lands in front of him, and then he fights the parademon. That's all okay. That's okay, but the backdrop is terrible. CGI is shocking. The parademon is poorly done. The criminal is so annoying. And then Ben Affleck's Batman says Alfred straight in front of him. And then it seems that him and the criminal are best friends when they're talking about the parademons and Superman. And then he just leaves the criminal there tied up and just leaves. There's no continuity sense here whatsoever. Man, I really was annoyed over that criminal. Ben Affleck's Batman in Zack Snyder's film would have beat the shit out of him for whatever crime he was committing, and would have left him there in a bloodbath with a scar of the Batarang. Well, at the early Batman vs Superman days he would have, but he would have beat the shit out of him for doing bad stuff. You know what I mean? So if we just kind of ignore all the terrible CGI scenes and stuff, which of the characters from the Justice League shine in this film? And I'd probably say in such a bad, terrible film, Ray Fisher is probably the best part of it. He is very good as Cyborg. He opens up with a scene with him and his father, and we see the struggle he has of dealing with being Cyborg and not knowing exactly what his powers are, or not knowing exactly what he is. So I think he, of everyone in Justice League, was the best done character and had a good story arc in the film. Ben Affleck's Batman was made an absolute show of. You go from his Batman vs Superman days, and he is a badass, and he's big, and he's intimidating, and you do not want to mess with him whatsoever. But in this film, he's cracking one-liners and making jokes and telling Superman, I don't not like you, and that, oh, something's definitely bleeding. It just made a joke of the character. I've never seen such a downfall of a transition of a character from Batman vs Superman to Justice League with Ben Affleck's Batman, and it's nothing got to do with his acting. It's nothing got to do with him at all. Him going all the struggles in his life and personal shit, and then he shoots Justice League. It's done. It's in the can. He doesn't have to go back, and he has to go back. They made go back because of contract obligations, of course, with all the cast, and he has to reshoot every single scene. He did not want to be there, and I can totally agree. It made his character into a joke. It puts him on par with the performance of George Clooney in Batman and Robin. It really does. And that's coming from someone who thinks Ben Affleck is the best Batman based on his performance from Batman vs Superman. Now, we knew that they were going to make Gal really strong in this film because it was coming off the back of the success of Wonder Woman, and critics loved that film. So when they went back to reshoot scenes, they put a lot more Gal scenes on her leading the line and standing on her own. From the trailer, from Zack Snyder's Justice League's trailer, we see the scene where Wonder Woman drops down. You got Cyborg beside her, you got Aquaman beside her. That scene's in the film, but they totally take out Aquaman and Cyborg and just leave her on her own. And she does have good scenes where she saves the group of people and children from the terrorists. That's a good scene, which is very good. There's good slow motion scenes in that as well. And then the scene where she has to stop all the bullets when they get in the terrorist tries to shoot all the people. That's a good scene, but we know from the theatrical version it was different from Zack Snyder's version. That bomb was supposed to go off and people were supposed to die, but it was all too easy in the end. It's an okay scene. I have nothing against the scene whatsoever. Then you go into the Flash. The Flash now is a character who gets a lot of hate, and in this film he is so off balance. In some scenes he's brilliant. The scenes with him and his father in prison, the actor who played Dr. Manhattan in Zack Snyder's Watchmen, is very heartfelt, it's very real, it's very emotional. And then you go to scenes of him kind of goofing around. I don't mind him telling jokes. Just for example, so the Ben Affleck scene and Bruce Wayne scene where he comes and meets Barry in his place, and he goes, Barry Allen, Bruce Wayne, and then Barry Allen kind of is hesitant of who he is, and then he throws the Batarang in slow motion. That's okay. There's good humour in that scene from Zack Snyder because we know from the trailers, because Ben asks him to be a part of the league and he cuts him off straight away and says, yeah, I'll join, I don't have friends. Okay, that's all Zack Snyder. But then there's a scene at the end of that where it's just, the humour is completely outplayed. You can see that's reshot because of the way Ezra looks, completely different, and it's just completely off. And the scenes with Ben under Zack and under Josh are so blatant to be seen. You can tell very quickly as well whether it's a reshoot scene, because Ben isn't in shape and all that. We all know that. But Ezra Miller's Flash, he was okay in this film. He got some good humour, some jokes that fall absolutely flat. his best scene is probably the fight with Superman when he goes slow motion and Superman turns over and looks at him. That's probably his best scene. Jason Momoa's Aquaman, he's okay in the film. He's got some cool action scenes. His dialogue, the whole dialogue with the League is kind of out of place and so kind of cringy as well. Some of the scenes work, some of the scenes don't. Overall, he's okay. His scene in Atlanta is pretty cool, but there's so many chops and changes that you can see that was reshot and things like that. So overall, all the characters were done okay. None of them stood out. None of them were amazing. The best probably was Ray Fisher, but they absolutely butchered Batman and Superman in this film. But in terms of plot, the plot for this film is pure simple. There's no risk taking whatsoever. There is no emotional substance whatsoever. There's no time where my adrenaline is going crazy over a scene like in Batman vs Superman. This is a simple film, a simple script made for children to try and enjoy. I'm so disappointed in what this film turned out to be. I'm so disappointed in Warner Brothers' actions, and they thought this was a good script and a good film to show people. There's nothing in this film that you can take away and say, wow, that was done really, really well. It's a poor film with the biggest characters of all time. You know, Steppenwolf isn't too bad. He's not the worst villain. I've seen worse villains in MCU movies. I really have. Suicide Squad has a worse villain. Steppenwolf is okay. He takes on Amazonians. He takes on Atlanteans. He wins. He kills people. He takes it to Cyborg. He takes it to Wonder Woman. He holds his own for most of the film until Superman appears. I like that aspect of it. At least the villain wasn't poor. At least he thought maybe, okay, he can do something here. But he wasn't the worst. The CGI is bad. There's no emotion in his eyes whatsoever. It's just his mouth moving. It's like, no. That's all it is. There's no real emotion in the villain whatsoever compared to Zod. You know? So, I know Doomsday didn't have much substance to him, but he was intimidating. He was unbeatable. Steppenwolf had an agenda. He had a goal in mind. Now that goal was changed over reshoots. We know Darkseid was involved more in his plan and things like that. But overall, Steppenwolf in the film, which was changed, is an okay villain. He is. But some of the CGI, the action scenes are absolutely terrible. This film is not enjoyable whatsoever. It's not. For me as a fan who coming off great comic book movies, we're getting better and better comic book movies every single year. It's just sad to see these characters being put through this way by Warner Brothers, by Josh Whedon, by Jeff Johns. They spent Ben Affleck like this. It's really soul crushing. If I could say some things that I liked about the film, I liked the J.K. Simmons scenes when he interacted with the League. I liked Aquaman saying dressed like a bad dig it. I enjoyed the scene when Superman was taking on Wonder Woman and then the Flash is going at speed force and it slows down and you can see the two of them looking at each other. That's all okay, it's enjoyable. But any enjoyable scene I have in this film is slowly stopped because then what comes is a reshoot. You can tell, you know, every single Henry Cavill Superman scene was reshot in this film and it's done badly and the dialogue is poor. How did you feel when you woke up? Itchy. And then, oh, you smell good. Did I not smell good before? This is such cheesy dialogue from the 90s and 80s that it's probably an insult to the 90s and 80s. You know, it's really in the essence of Batman Forever. It's like someone sat down and said, right, let's watch Batman Forever. And let's remake it with Justice League. What the fuck? I honestly can't believe it's the same guy who directed Avengers 1 and Avengers 2. Not groundbreaking films. Avengers 1's okay. Avengers 2 I like a little bit more, but they're big budget films that made a lot of money and it looks practically well. And then he comes onto this film and he makes everything look absolutely shit. Everything is shit. The costumes, everything is so poorly done. I don't know what to say. What was the goal or essence behind any of the thinking that any of the people had behind this film when Zach and it just angers me so much. Josh Whedon, he just takes scenes from the Avengers films that he made and puts them into this film. Like the scene where the Avengers are having a confrontation with each other at the meeting. He does the exact same in this film and with Diana and Bruce, and it's completely similar. And then of course with the Hulk falling on Black Widow's boobs, he does the same thing with Flash falling on Wonder Woman's boobs. where is the thinking behind this? Where does he think, oh, this will portray straight onto this and nobody will notice? You're a director. What the fuck are you doing? Like, as I said, the green screen is very poor. Like, when Superman takes on the League, there's a few cop cars around, but there's no people. There's no people. There's a CGI in the background screen, and there's one or two cops, but there's nobody else. There's no traffic moving. There's nothing going on whatsoever. It's just like the League. It looks like it's shot on a stage, on a set. It really does. Like, the final act is supposed to be the big climax of the film. And look, if the final act was okay, if it was, say the final act was great, and they pulled off an awesome, unbelievable action sequence with Steppenwolf and cool lines and dialogue, and Superman does some cool shit, then yeah, it might save this movie just a little bit. But no, it's a CGI mess. It's 30 minutes of absolute chronic illness. It's a headache. I had a headache looking at this because of the way it's shot. It's the redness. Why is it red? And then the purple shit coming up out of the ground. What is that? Is that like a plant? Is that what? I don't even. They didn't really explain what that shit is. It really is annoying, and it's hard to look at on the eye. It's just bright red around the place, in Russia or wherever they are. I don't even remember where they are. There's a Russian family as well, and are they the only people living there? And then we find out there's other people living there in buildings, and Superman has to pick up. Oh, it's just a headache thinking about it. Everything, and nothing makes sense at all. But it's supposed to be a big climax, a big action scene with Steppenwolf, but it's not. It's the reshot scenes, and that whole entire 30 minutes is reshot, kind of without one or two maybe scenes. Probably the best part of that whole 30 minutes is when Batman, I don't know what he does, gets out of the Batmobile and takes on a few parademons like for 10-15 seconds. That's a pretty cool scene, but everything else is just cringy and just poorly shot. The dialogue is terrible. When Superman finally does come, it's some okay action, but it's so hard to look at him with his mouth's just so fucked up. It's so hard to take him seriously. It's like, I don't know what you are. Are you a clown? Are you a Superman? Because you're definitely not my Superman that I've seen in the other films. And he takes on Steppenwolf and he beats him easy enough, of course. But even there's supposed to be a scene Wonder Woman in the trailer. It's not in the film, but it's a big CGI mess for 30 minutes, and it's just a headache. It's just there's nothing appealing whatsoever in that scene, and then they just beat him like that easily enough when he's taken away by the parademons. And there's no consequences whatsoever for him nearly taking over the whole world. And then the League stand there on top of a hill, look over a hill, looking at, I don't know what, the ground rebuild itself. Plants retake over the world. I don't know what they're doing. And then there's a cool little montage at the end where it kind of shows where everyone is. And you got Cyber being kind of rebuilt or kind of getting new technology in them or growing. And then you got Aquaman going through the water, and that was supposed to be him going off in a car and rejecting Mira and Volko's offer to come to Atlantis, and then you got Batman there looking up. That's a pretty cool scene. J.K. Simmons gets the bat signal going, and then Superman running away and takes out the S. That's a Zack Snyder scene. So there's some, overall the film is poorly done, poorly written, poorly shot, poorly CGI, poor dialogue. There is some redeeming factors in terms of some little cool action scenes, some little cool little small bits of dialogue are funny and okay, but overall I do not enjoy this film. I do not like this film whatsoever, and maybe if I didn't know of all the shit that went on behind the scenes of what happened, then maybe I would like this film and like it a little bit more, but I just can't, because I know the people who made this film are bad people. They are bad people because of all the shit that went on. I do not recommend you watching this film. I recommend you watching Zack Snyder's Justice League when it comes out and watching the real version and the real vision of his arc. Now, I'm sure there's children out there who love this film, who like this film, who've enjoyed this film, and that's okay. And I'm happy for those children, or even adults who like this film. I'm happy for you. If you enjoy it, that's okay. For me personally, I don't. I want to see what I paid for. I was falsely marketed a film, falsely advertised a film. I went to go see that film based on the marketing that was put towards me in trailers and TV spots and posters, and I didn't get it. I got a CGI mess with dialogue that looked like it was written by 5-year-olds. Now, if you went to a 5-year-old and said, right, Batman and Superman, write me down a scene that you do, like a fight scene or something. A 5-year-old will come up with better scenes than what Josh Whedon and Jeff Johns come up with in this film. They would. And for someone who is a fanboy of Batman, if you asked me to write a Batman scene, man, I would put everything I have into writing a Batman scene to making it as best as I possibly could. These guys seem like they don't care. I'm sure they did care. I'm sure, of course, they cared. But it just looked like they didn't care. But overall, the Justice League, I don't even know what to rate it, but don't watch it. Watch Batman, watch the real Superman, watch the real Cyber, watch the real Aquaman, watch the real Flash, real Wonder Woman, the real Zack Snyder film when Justice League is released, and do not watch the theatrical version of Justice League. Maybe if you want to play a drinking game with your friends, every time there's a poorly shot scene or poorly dialogue, then it might come in handy. But overall, do not watch Justice League. I did. I wanted to tear my fucking eyes out. Until next time, guys. See ya. Remember, positivity.